Welcome and let your journey to soul expansion begin. I'm your host, Kristen Kaczynski. This show will take you on a journey of expansion, encouraging you to release the limitations of your mind and lean into the wisdom of your soul. Remembering who you are on a soul level will help you release your conditioning, expectations, limiting beliefs, fears, and worries, and evoke a life expanded by your energetic alignment. Whether you're an entrepreneur who wants to grow your income and impact, or someone who knows in your heart of hearts that you're made for more, this podcast will help you awaken the power that's already inside of you, allowing you to attract an easy flow of money, clients, opportunities, and fulfillment. In each episode, you'll learn something new, expand your consciousness, and you'll walk away with a glimpse of what's truly possible for you. If you're ready to follow your soul's calling and live a more expansive life, you're in the right place. Welcome, and let your journey to soul expansion begin. My whole life, I was taught that if I could do more, if I could be more perfect, if I could accomplish more, if I could achieve more, then I would be happy, right? Because then I would have the best job or the best business, have the best life, have all the accomplishments. And so many of us are taught the same thing. I know I'm not alone in this. And maybe it's not achieving that's your pattern, but maybe it's pleasing others. Maybe you don't like to rock the boat, or maybe it's, picking the safe thing because safety is really important. And so we're taught all these things. We're taught all these limits. We're taught to burn ourselves out or to keep ourselves small in childhood and from our friends, from school, from relationships, from our caregivers. From all these different angles, we're taught how we should be. But the truth is, none of that is how we should be, and none of that will ultimately lead to us achieving what we want to achieve in our lives or to long-term happiness. I remember I used to have a corporate job 2.5 years ago, and I remember sitting in my corporate job at one point thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm, 23, 22 years old, and I already hate this. How on earth am I going to do this for the next 40 years of my life? I just couldn't even stomach it. My stomach's actually hurting right now as I talk about it. That's weird. But I couldn't even stomach it. It just was so depressing for me to look at the next 40 years of my life from this lens of what I was doing at the age of 22, 23, and to realize that not much was going to change. I mean, I looked at the people 40 years older than me or 30 years older than me, and they weren't doing things that were that different from what I was doing. They just had a more important role. They talked to more important people. They did more important things. But there wasn't anything deeper to it than that, right? Like it was the same boring corporate work that I already hated. And so I quit that corporate job at the age of 25. That was 2.5 years ago. And I started my own business. And at first I approached it the same way that I approached everything in my life up until that point. I mean, I was a straight A student, went to NYU, went to a great college that was super competitive, got a great corporate job, climbed that corporate ladder for the 3 years that I was there. And I had learned throughout my life that if I did more, I got to receive more. And so I took that same energy into my business when I started my business in 2019. And I did the most because I wanted to receive the most. I want to be successful, right? Like I want to be wealthy. I don't apologize for that. I don't pretend like I don't want that. I also know there's so many of you listening to this that want that. You want to be able to have the means to travel, to be able to take care of your health at the highest level, to be able to buy the quality food and the quality clothing, and to stay in your dream home and to have your dream vacations. You get to want all that, right? And you get to have all that. And we're going to talk about how in this show. And so I wanted to be wealthy. And so I was like, okay, if I do the most and if I do it the most perfectly, there's no way I can't succeed, right? Like it's a given. It's inevitable. And I had some great initial success in my business, hit a 10K month just 90 days after quitting my corporate job, and also about like 60 days after my first sale. It happened really fast for me. And then I started to realize that there was an upper limit to what I was doing because I kept hitting that same 10K month as like an income ceiling. And at first I thought, okay, well, maybe I need a team. And so I hired 3 team members to help me scale. And they set up systems, they set up automations. I hired a social media manager to help me grow my Instagram account. And I set up all these things to do more so I could receive more. And then that didn't work. At one point in 2020, this was after I'd been in business about a year, I had 2 full months where I had 0 new sales. And this was despite knowing how to market and sell myself, despite having the systems, the processes, the strategies, and the team members in place. Like, despite all of that, I still had 2 months where I made 0 new sales. And that was because of my unhealed trauma. And when I say trauma, people are like, oh, I don't have trauma. But let me ask you this. Did you ever have a highly emotional experience in childhood or adulthood? Did you ever have your heart broken? Did a parent ever, make you feel so guilty for getting in trouble with them? Or did you ever experience a sibling who you compared yourself to? Like, these things that we all encounter in our lives, they leave an imprint on us, right? They leave traumatic memories, and some may or may not be classified as trauma by like psychologists and stuff, but this shit has an impact whether you acknowledge it or not. From the ages of 0 to 7 years, we're basically like a walking unconscious mind. And what that means is we just take in information and we don't have a filter. We don't have anything to refer to be able to distinguish, is this information that I agree with and that I want to integrate, or is it not? And so we form our own filters based on the information we receive in childhood. And with that, sometimes we receive information that severely limits us, or makes us think we have to do to receive, or makes us think we have to be perfect, or makes us think that we have to stay small, or makes us think that we can't have what we want for one reason or another. And so if you feel like you've been in this place where you've been limited, or you feel limited, or you feel like there's so much more that you desire for yourself and for your life and for your business, but you keep hitting the sticking point, or you keep feeling like there's no hope for you to get to the next level of income, or get to the next level of impact, or get to the next level of happiness and joy and presence. If you feel stuck, the Soul Expansion Podcast is here for you. In this show, I'm going to take you through lessons I've learned, practices that have supported me. My goal for you is for you to walk away with some sort of shift at the end of each episode. Some sort of shift, whether it's mindset, whether it's energetic, whether it's knowledge, whether it's inspiration. You will experience a shift. You're not just listening for entertainment when you're listening to the Soul Expansion Podcast. You're listening to grow, to expand, right? And once I started to learn that my childhood had such a big impact on the limits I was seeing in my business in 2020, I turned to inner child healing. I turned to spirituality. And I started playing with manifestation, and that's when things really started to shift for me in my business. The second half of 2020 was massive for me. And I ended up hitting six figures in my business in 2020. And I credit that not to all the strategies and all the hustling and all the team members and all the things I was doing, although I definitely appreciated my team. But I really credit that income growth to my soul expansion, to my spiritual development, to the healing of my childhood wounds that we all have. No one has a perfect childhood. My parents were great. Are you kidding me? My parents took me on the best vacations. I was always provided for. My parents were amazing. And I still have childhood wounds. It's nothing against their parenting, nor is it anything against your parents' parenting. But we have these wounds and they exist, and we can't pretend like they don't exist because they're limiting us right now, even though we're adults. And maybe those wounds didn't come from your parents. Maybe it came from your friends or society or teachers or some other caregiver in your life. But they're still there, right? They're still keeping you small, keeping you contracted. Well, my goal in this podcast is to help you expand, to help you get out of your box that's been falsely created for you, that isn't even real. Because the truth is, you are limitless. You are limitless. You can create anything. You can do anything. You can have anything. You can be anything. And you intuitively know this because you desire more for yourself, right? Like, you intuitively know that you can have more because you desire more. And then your conscious mind might come online and say, well, no, only so-and-so can have this. Only these types of people can have this. And of course, there's some things in the collective that are beyond the control of the individual, things like systemic harm, things like racism. I fully acknowledge that there's some things that we can't overcome as one individual, right? Let's be real with that. But there's so much that we can overcome as an individual. And so my goal with the Soul Expansion podcast is to help you awaken to that fact, help you embody that fact, really live and breathe it, and help you leverage it. Because you are worthy of more right now. Not after you reach your next income goal, not after you have a partner, not after you lose 10 pounds, not after you have a better house or a better car, not after you win some award. No. You are worthy of everything that you desire right now. So let's go get it. Hit that subscribe button. Go listen to the next episode where I'm breaking down the two things that are getting in the way right now of you experiencing an expanded life. The two top things that are preventing you from being able to manifest, from being able to call in money, call in clients, call in opportunities, call in fulfillment. Go find out what those two things are by downloading the next episode. Until then, I'm Kristen Kaczynski. Thank you so much for tuning in and welcome to Soul Expansion. Thank you for honoring your soul's calling today and taking the time to listen to this episode of the Soul Expansion podcast. If you have a question you'd like featured or have a topic idea, I would love to hear from you. Find me on Instagram at Kristen Kaczynski and send me a DM with your request. Remember, you are a truly limitless being. The limits you see now are only an illusion. Whatever it is that you desire, that's already yours. It already exists in the universe here and now. You simply have to awaken to what you already have. And I hope this episode brought you a little closer to that truth. If you love this episode and would like to give from your heart and appreciation, please take a few moments to screenshot it and tag me in your stories on Instagram, or write a brief review on your favorite podcast platform. Your voice truly matters, and your feedback helps to spread abundant expansion to a broader audience. And what a gift that is, right? Just think about how much abundance will come back to you if you help a friend experience their own soul expansion. And with that, I just want to say thank you for being you. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, I'm Kristen Kaczynski, and I love you.